morning. We are continuing on with chapter 5. We are continuing on with chapter 9, lesson 5, and we're still square rooting. I'm trying to get x alone, or a alone, or whatever the variable is alone. What's different about today is that I'm going to give you some problems that have parentheses, and so in order for me to get rid of this x1 until 2, I need to square root the whole parentheses. So instead of just square rooting on example 1, the x squared and the 484, I'm going to isolate the square by taking the square root of both sides. And then I solve for x. 484. Well, guess what? 200 times 200 is 400. And then 20 squared is 400. 21 squared (441). 22 squared is 484. So it's plus or minus 22. No different than what you took the quiz on yesterday. All right, the next one. What should I do? Isolate the square by subtracting 4 and dividing both sides by 5. Pretty self-explanatory, right? Subtract 4 both sides. (5x squared) equals 125. I know. And then divide both sides by 5. So this is perfect. Step 2. Take the square root of both sides. I can do colors because plus or minus 5. So if I plug positive 5 into my original equation, I would get 129. If I plugged in negative 5 into my original equation, I would also get 129. Example 3 is different. Isolate the square. Well, right now it is the parentheses. So I'm going to square root the whole parentheses. So it's going to look like this. So I square rooted the whole parentheses. I don't break apart the parentheses. I don't FOIL the parentheses. When I square root and then the squared, those two things cancel each other out. So all that I'm going to have on the left-hand side is an x minus 3. Plus or minus 12. Hold up. I have two answers. I have a positive 12 and I have a negative 12. So I'm not done. So it's x take away 3 equals 12, and x take away 3 equals negative 12. You have to get two answers because I'm not done. That minus 3 has to get over. I want x alone. Add 3 both sides. My final answer is going to be x equals 12 plus 3, 15. And then add 3, x equals negative 12 plus 3. What's negative 12 plus 3? Good, Alice. Negative 9. So make sure that you get two answers. Super important. Let's do another one like this from our homework before I make you do number 4. So I'm going to jump to the very next page. Let's do, these all are like the same. Let's just do number 8. So you need to square root both sides. And yes, your homework is going to be every problem on this page. So I'm going to square root both sides. The square root and the squared cancel each other out. Plus or minus 4. The square root of 16 is plus or minus 4. Get 2 answers. X minus 2 equals positive 4. And x minus 2 equals negative 4. I obviously write too big because you're going to add 2 to every, So x equals 4 plus 2 is 6. And I'm getting 2 answers. Negative 4 plus 2 is negative. Oh, can't even see it. Sorry. Two answers. Let's also do number 12. Why not? Maybe I'd save space if I square root right here. I think I could do that. And not write it below it. So the square root and the squared cancel each other out. I get x plus 1 equals plus or minus rad 3. This is a good one. Rad 3 can't be broken down. So I split it. And I have x plus 1 equals positive rad 3. X plus 1 equals negative radical 3. And then here's how this works. I'm going to subtract 1. However, I don't put it after the square root. I put it before. And this is new. You've never seen this before. Negative 1, and then it was positive rad 3. So negative 1 plus rad 3. I don't combine them. I leave them separate. They are not like terms. They don't have anything in common. So I cannot put them together. This second one is going to be x equals negative 1 minus rad 3. Sometimes in higher level classes, you'll see negative 1 plus or minus rad 3. They put it together. They put the answer together. So the negative 1 does not go after the 3. I'm not going to do 3 minus 1. Make it a 2. No. The negative 1 has to stay in front because 1 doesn't have a rad 3. So they're not like terms. If you want to make these two answers more simplified and easier and shorter, this is very fine. Negative 1 plus or minus rad 3. Honestly, I feel like I should do 14 as well. It's just going to help you. Square root both sides. X plus 1 equals rad 8. Can't I break that down? Negative rad 8. If I break it down, are you all good that it becomes 2 rad 2? 4 times 2. 2 radical 2. Are we all clear on that? 2 radical 2. So if I subtract 1, well, first of all, I need to write it as 2 rad 2. X plus 1 equals 2 radical 2. X plus 1 equals negative 2 rad 2. So when I subtract 1 on both sides, let me put it together all condensed. X equals negative 1 plus or minus 2 rad 2. The negative 1 goes in front. The 2 rad 2 is its own thing. You can't combine it. You do not make that 3 or 1. No, keep them separate. Keep it separate. I can. 225 is a perfect square, so it's not going to be as hard as 12 and 14. Square root both sides on number 10. What's the square root of 225? 15. X minus 4 equals 15. X minus 4 equals negative 15. Because 15 is a perfect square. I'm sorry, 225 is a perfect square. Add 4 to both sides. X equals 19. X equals negative 11. So if there's a radical sign, you have to have like a longer, more complicated looking answer. If the square root works out evenly, you're going to get 2 whole numbers. It just depends. Does radical 3 break down? No. So I have to leave it in my answer. I'm going to go back to the front side. And I'm going to do example 4. Square root both sides. Two x minus 3 equals, what's the square root of 144? Right? Plus or minus 12? 2x minus 3 equals 12. 2x minus 3 equals negative 12. All right. Add 3 to both sides. Two x equals 15. Divide by 2. My answer is going to be a fraction. Did you know that 15 halves is the same as 7.5 or 7.5? Did you know that? Changing an improper fraction to a mixed number. This is something that should be okay in your brain to do. So that's one of my answers. Then 2x equals negative 9. And I divide by 2. Negative 9 halves. Did you know that negative 9 halves means negative 4.5 or negative 4.5? Let's do one of those in my homework. It's going to be on the back side. Oh, none of them are that hard. What is wrong with me? Why didn't I give you any hard ones? Oh, lucky you. Do you want to start it? Yeah. 1 through 28. Don't do this. We already did this. That was a giant mistake in my photocopying. I don't know what that's about. So just the next page, 1 through 28. Please start, yeah. Good job.